Police beefing up security across the country, not because of any BLM or Antifa protest, no. Not because of pro or anti-Trump protest, no. They're beefing up security because of these pro-Israeli, pro-Palestinian clashes in American streets. A story for you at NBC News. Now, it took 4 authors to write the story, by the way. 4 authors. They couldn't do it with one. Title of the article, as pro-Palestinian, pro-Israeli protests sweep U.S., police worry about clashes. Worried about clashes. Now, this is by Angela Yang, Andrew Blankenstein, or is it Blankenstein, Jonathan Dienst, last name D-I-E-N-S-T, and Corky Samazako, last name S-I-E-M-A-S-Z-K-O. There's a mouthful for you. Fearing outbreaks of violence as supporters of Israel and the Palestinian cause square off in the wake of Hamas's attack on Israel, police in cities across the country have been sending extra officers to protest and are ratcheting up security at potential targets like mosques, synagogues, and consulates. LAPD Chief Michael Moore, or is it Michelle Moore? Is it Michelle or is it Michael? M-I-C-H-E-L. Well, in this day and age, you don't know, right? Sending extra patrols to neighborhoods with large Jewish and Muslim populations. As a precaution, they did this Saturday, just hours after Hamas militants launched a series of deadly raids inside Israel. This according to NBC News. As Israel retaliated with missile attacks Monday on Gaza and Hamas threatened to execute the Israelis they had taken hostage, police sources said Los Angeles police are preparing for large pro-Palestinian rallies and potential counter-protest in the coming days. And you thought the riots in 2020 were bad. Brother, you ain't seen nothing yet. In New York City, notice where this is happening. L.A., New York. In New York City, a police spokesperson said extra police officers were present Sunday outside the UN headquarters, where a skirmish between supporters of Israel and the Palestinians erupted, as well as earlier in Times Square, where police set up barricades to keep a ground-chanting Free, Free Palestine, Long Live Palestine, separated from a pro-Israeli group. Quote, there was an astonishing amount of police, said Munir Atala, one of the Palestinian youth movement, which helped organize the rally. Quote, it was maybe more police than I've ever seen at any protest. The Hamas attack caught the Israelis and the rest of the world by surprise. In the U.S., many people with ties to both regions found themselves rallying on the streets over the weekend, waving Israeli or Palestinian flags as they gathered with members of their communities. Now, I think it's time that we just break ties with these people. If you're going to bring this crap to our shores, and you're going to be clashing in the streets, then we don't want any part of it. We'll just cut off the trade, the immigration, the financial aid, and you can fend for yourselves. Just my humble opinion here. That really would be the best foreign policy. You know, when we were founded, our founders never intended for us to be entangled with all these international conflicts. You want to trade with a nation at arm's length? Fine. But we weren't supposed to get entangled in all these conflicts overseas. No, but we've got to spread democracy, which there is nothing in our Constitution which says that we have to do that. Atala, who said his family was expelled from Jerusalem in 1948 by, quote, Zionist militias, said he sees the Hamas attack as the culmination of years of frustration among Palestinians who said they are trapped in teeming Gaza by the Israelis, which maintains a blockade that has been condemned by the UN and more than a dozen human rights organizations. So you see, the problem is just with Israel. That's the takeaway here. The problem is just with Israel. Now, I support Israel 150%. I said that in my last video. I grew up in a Christian home, and we honored the Jewish tradition, the Judeo or what do you say, Judaism or Judaism? I can never say it right, okay? But we refer to it as Judeo-Christian. So we actually practiced a lot of the Jewish traditions, the Feast of Tabernacles. We read the Old, the New Testament. I always thought my favorite character in the Bible was King Jehoshaphat. I always thought that was a cool name, Jehoshaphat. Really cool story if you've never read it. But they're saying here that the problem is with Israel. Now, the problem is you've got two sides who can't get along. And if you're going to stop this conflict, you got to tell these people to get along or we're not going to do business with you. It's that simple. Palestinians anywhere, we're all connected, Atala said, and we have family, friends we worry about as Israel's essentially bombing Gaza without any kind of regard for civilians. Well, that really isn't true. But this goes to show you the viewpoint here. In Kirkland, Washington, police had to intervene Sunday after scuffles broke out between pro-Israeli and pro-Palestinian demonstrators. And they've got some clips here. Omar Lichtig, an Israeli living in Richmond, Washington, said police had quelled the violence by the time he and his wife arrived to show support for Israel. But the anger was still there as dozens of police officers kept the two sides apart. Quote, "We couldn't just stand by after what happened after seeing our people slaughtered," said Lichtig. And that was wrong. That was absolutely wrong for these Hamas fighters to go into Israel and to drag these people out in the streets. Drag them out on motorcycles. And to broadcast these executions or whatever they're doing over there on social media. Obviously, there's a side here that doesn't want to play nice. As I said, if either party's not going to play nice, you don't do business with whatever that party is. Or to make it fair, you don't do business with any of them. You do that, you cut off the trade, the immigration, the financial aid. They'll change their act real quick. Works every time. Amazing how that happens, but it works every time. So Lichtig said here that he had families that live outside of Tel Aviv. Quote, "So we came with our flags and they, the pro-Palestinian demonstrators, started intimidating us and provoking us." Lichtig said he has friends whose relatives were killed when Hamas gunmen raided a kibbutz near the Gaza border. Now, I'm not saying that Israel is 100% innocent here. No nation is. Every nation, even the United States, has made mistakes. But Israel does have a right to exist. But you're not going to get anywhere when people are stuck in the 9th century. Mentally stuck in the 9th century, you're not going to get anywhere. Quote, "I lost a few friends who were still in the service," he said, "and it's a very tough moment for us. Think about it. Like almost each Israeli knows someone who got kidnapped, injured, or murdered." In San Francisco, again, this is all happening in these liberal enclaves. LA, New York, San Francisco. In San Francisco, police were called in after thousands of pro-Palestinian demonstrators were confronted Sunday by a much smaller group of Jewish protesters, and eggs and water bottles were thrown. Worse than Antifa and BLM. In New Jersey, police vehicles were parked outside many synagogues and mosques Monday. New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin said in a statement earlier that, quote, "Law enforcement will be increasing patrols in sensitive areas and keeping close watch over houses of worship for both the Jewish and Islamic faiths." Vigils for victims of the latest outbreak of violence in the troubled region were being planned for later Monday and Tuesday in New Jersey and across the rest of the country. So a story for you here at NBC News. They're now clashing in American streets. These pro-Israelis, pro-Palestinians. Please don't bring this to our shores. I'm all for trading with another country, having a good relationship with people, good international relationship. I'm all for that. But if neither side is going to get along, somebody's got to step in and tell these people to stop. And if you don't stop, we're not doing business with you. You get that, Washington, D.C.? It's not hard to figure out. It's not hard to figure out. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. You can also follow me at Instagram, hashtag Jason Composes, because I write music in my spare time. Or you can find me at X, Culture Confederacy, at CultureConfed1 on X. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out, stay safe, everybody. God bless this thing called the United States. And you know how we do it here. This is where the past crashes with the present. I'll catch you next time. And you all have a great Tuesday.